Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one big idea that could completely change how we build our world. You know, everything from bridges to power grids. And in the process, it could solve a problem that's quietly wasting trillions of our dollars every single year. It's a story we all know way too well, right? That new rail line, that highway expansion. It feels like it's a guarantee that they're going to be late and cost way more than anyone promised. But why? Why is that the default setting? Well, it really boils down to this number, 40%. That's how much money in the construction industry is just pure waste. Let that sink in. It's not just a small leak, it's a massive failure, baked right into the system we use to build everything around us. So what's the reason? It's a huge disconnect in how we handle data and communication. So today, we're going to walk through the problem, a really brilliant solution, and what it all means for the future of building, well, anything. Okay, so let's get right to the heart of this trillion-dollar mess. And you know, it's not because of a lack of skilled people or because of bad intentions. The real problem is a totally broken system of communication. I want you to imagine trying to build a skyscraper, but the architect, the engineer, the contractor, and the steel supplier, they all speak different languages. They all use different blueprints. I mean, that's basically what's happening on these projects. It's just this web of thousands of separate, disconnected deals that leads to total conflict instead of teamwork. And all this chaos creates something called data silos. So the architect's info is trapped in their system, the contractor's updates are in another, the bank's financing documents are in a third. Everybody has their own version of the truth, which leads to just endless arguments and wasted time trying to figure out what's actually going on. So how in the world do you fix a problem where everyone's speaking a different language? Well, you create a universal translator. And that is exactly the idea here. The solution is built around a standard called XBRL. Now just think of it like a universal dictionary for all project data. It gives every single piece of information, a cost, a date, a specific material, a unique digital tag that any computer can instantly understand. It doesn't make anyone change their software. It just makes all the different software speak the same language. Here is the perfect way to think about it. The old way is like trying to copy and paste an address from an email into your contacts list. It's slow, and you're probably going to make a typo. This new way is like that one-click download. It's way faster, way safer, and it's perfectly accurate every single time. And you know, this isn't some brand new, untested idea. This is actually the result of more than a decade of work. You can see how it's progressed right here. It really kicked off with the Data Act way back in 2014, pushing for government-wide data standards. That ball kept rolling, and by 2023, the Financial Transparency Act made it the law of the land for federal agencies. So the foundation for this has been quietly getting built for years. Okay, so what does this change actually look like in the real world? Let's put the old, broken way right up against this new, connected approach. When it comes to just managing a project, we go from a world of total confusion to one of crystal clarity. So instead of a dozen different truths all trapped in spreadsheets and PDFs, we get one single source of truth that everyone can see and, more importantly, trust. No more fighting over whose numbers are right. This also completely flips risk management on its head. You know, traditionally, risk is like a hot potato. Everyone's just trying to pass it to the next person. But in this new model, the real-time data makes the risk totally transparent. Everyone, from the builders to the bankers, can see a problem starting to brew and actually work together to solve it before it blows up into a crisis. And this also fixes one of the biggest headaches on any project, cash flow. In the old system, getting paid is just a slow, painful nightmare of paperwork, which adds costs for everybody. With this new system, smart contracts can see a task is done and just trigger the payment automatically. That means people get paid faster and millions are saved in financing costs. It's a game changer. So, this all sounds pretty amazing in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at the proof. Oh, it absolutely does. Get this. The Utah Department of Transportation ran an experiment. Instead of old-school paper blueprints, they made a super detailed 3D digital model, the official legal contract. And the result? Well, on their normal projects, bids usually came in about 5% below what they estimated. But on these new model-as-contract projects, the bids came in 20 to 30% lower. That is a massive difference, just from giving everyone a clearer picture. So now, these exact same ideas are being proposed for some real mega projects, like the California high-speed rail. The thinking is that the same transparency that saved so much money in Utah could be scaled up to save billions and maybe, finally, keep a project like this one on track. And this shift isn't just for the big corporations. It's creating a whole new space for innovation. Check out this student entrepreneur, Carson Whitaker. He's building a business that does one simple but brilliant thing. It converts those old government PDFs into this new universal language. He's creating huge value and a ton of opportunity in the process.
Okay, so this future looks incredibly bright. But how do we actually get there? What's the plan to make this the new normal for every single project?
Well, the roadmap is actually pretty clear, and things are already moving. It's basically a three-part strategy. First, you expand that universal data dictionary to cover every part of infrastructure. Second, you build the AI tools you need to translate the old data into the new format. And third, you bring all the players together to create a truly connected system. And this isn't just talk. Look what's happening right now. There's a $5 million proposal already in front of the Department of Transportation to expand that data dictionary. At the same time, there's seed funding going to entrepreneurs to build the exact AI tools we're talking about. And on the global stage at places like COP28, they've moved past asking why and are now totally focused on how to build this system. The momentum is real. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. We've just looked at a blueprint for fixing one of the world's most complicated and wasteful industries, all by solving its communication problem. So, if a universal data language can fix construction, what other broken systems in healthcare, in logistics, maybe even in government, are just waiting for their own universal translator?